How's it going, y'all? It's Hajime Academia here to bring you another manga discussion. This time I'm covering Origin by Boichi. Y'all might know Boichi from his work on Dr. Stone. He does the artwork for Dr. Stone. So if you're a fan of Boichi's artwork in any of his works, then you should definitely check out Origin because the artwork in this one is awesome. Just as good as any other work he's done. This is a shorter manga, only about 87 chapters, and it is completed. And each chapter is not too long. You can get through them pretty quickly. So let's get into it. What is this manga about? It's set in the year 2048. It's a future manga, kind of sci-fi. Well, it is sci-fi for sure. And I like that kind of stuff. I'm really into the sci-fi. And it's set in the city of Tokyo. There's been a giant railway built, which starts in Tokyo, ends in Tokyo, and it travels all across Asia into Europe. And so this has brought lots of wealth and prosperity to the city of Tokyo, and it's built up into the biggest metropolis in the world right now. You get these great shots, lots of panels of the city, and they've just got all these enormous monolithic structures rising out of the earth. It's a very impressive city. But with this wealth that's come to the city, a lot of crime has also come to the city, and scumbags are running the streets. And so this is sort of the premise we're given at the beginning of the story. All right, so it begins with a man we're going to refer to as Origin. It's not really his name, but he is called Origin, and he calls himself Origin because he is the first of his kind. He is an android who was built by a human, a man that he calls his father. And father is dead now. We find out very early on that father has passed away. But before he passed away, he built 8 other androids along with Origin. So there's 9 androids in total out in the world, including Origin. So in the first chapter, we see that Origin has infiltrated this gangster group. They are wannabe Yakuzas. They're not actually Yakuzas, but tonight they're going on what could be their biggest score and what could land them a spot amongst the Yakuza. So they're all excited about this, and they're talking. And you got Origin kind of just sitting off to the side. He's a new recruit, and he doesn't really say much to anybody. And they all kind of think he's a little weird. But they're all talking about these strange deaths that have been occurring amongst other gangs and other gangsters. There's been people getting their spines ripped out of their bodies and their skulls crushed. And they're speculating on what could be doing this. Is it rival gangs? Is it something more? Is it some sort of conspiracy? And you got Origin sitting off on the side, sort of monologuing to himself. And that's a lot of the manga is internal dialogue from Origin and describing his surroundings and what he's thinking. So right here, he's thinking, this is exactly why I'm here. It's because the person the thing that's been killing all these gangsters is another android that was built by father. And he's after this android to stop them because Origin sort of wants to protect humans. Even though he doesn't have feelings as a robot, he doesn't feel for humanity, he still wants to protect humanity for some reason. Not really explained why early on in the story, but as it goes on, you'll see more and more that he's trying to protect humans even though he doesn't have feelings for humans. So sometimes he will have people in situations where he can't protect them, and he doesn't feel bad about that because he's a robot, so he doesn't have the feelings. But he will do everything he can to protect people that he can protect. So he's sitting here and he's speculating about this android that he has been going around and killing the Yakuza members, gangsta members. And he says, I think that the android is here tonight amongst this gang here. And now, right after he says that, one of the gangsters comes in and brings in this hooker with him and says, all right, you guys, let's get ready to go. And they all pack into their car along with this girl, and they head off to some warehouse to make their big score. Now, on the way to the warehouse, they're all sort of chit-chatting in the back of the car, and Origin makes the discovery that this girl doesn't breathe. She's not breathing right every time she speaks. She never breathes. And he makes the conclusion, this is the android I've been looking for. It's this hooker, this girl. So they get to, but there's nothing he can do while he's on board the car, because he doesn't want to just kill all the gangster members. He's not about just randomly killing humans, and even though they're gangsters, he doesn't want to just kill them. But they get to this warehouse, they walk in, and they see the thing they're supposed to steal is just sitting open in the middle of this warehouse with no guards around, and it's a little suspicious, but none of these gangsters freak out. They're all excited. They say, wow, this is so easy. We're so lucky. And they all run in there straight at the stuff they're supposed to steal. And right behind them, that girl's whipping out a gun. And with robotic precision, she just wipes them all out, shooting them in the face, blowing their brains out. Each one of them gets hit right in the right spot. And she's super fast with her gun, going all around. But the only person who manages to survive the spray of bullets is Origin. And he rises up and he's ready to fight. And this is when we find out that Origin keeps a katana hidden inside his arm. So he takes the hilt. He just carries around a hilt of a sword in his jacket, and he takes the hilt out. And then out of his wrist he pulls this long katana out, which connects to his hilt. And that's the weapon he uses. This is going to be his main weapon throughout the series. So something cool about his sword that he pulls out of his arm is that he's made it so it can bend a lot, so that he's able to bend his arm. But he can't bend his arm the full way. He can bend it maybe 90 degrees, and not the full way, but about 90 degrees. And the way he did this was he made his sword out of the same thing that his muscle fibers are made out of. It's the synthetic muscle material. So his sword is very strong, but also very flexible. Next, we get this great fight between Origin and this other android girl. He is deflecting bullets with his sword, and he cuts her head off at one point. She uses her mouth to bite down onto her own neck and keep her head sort of attached to her body and continue fighting. It's a great fight, really epic. But in the end, Origin takes her down, slices her to pieces, and that's the end of the first chapter. Now, in the second chapter, we learn more of Origin's motives. He was not just trying to stop this one android from randomly going around and killing humans, but he's also trying to send a message to all of the androids created by Father. He was trying to tell them, hey, y'all can't just be out there killing random humans, because I will stop you. And he's thinking that this message will keep the other androids from really making themselves known, or from attacking Origin, or from attacking humans randomly. He thinks if they think logically, then they'll sort of lay low and just live out their lives. And so that's how it goes. That's what he thinks is going to happen. And so from there, we get flashbacks with Origin's father, sort of learning Origin's motives for what he's doing throughout the series. His father had these dying words to Origin where he said, live a proper life. And Origin sort of struggles to understand what his father meant by this. So in order to learn what his father meant, he decides to try to live as a human would live. And in that way, hopefully, he will one day understand what his father meant. So he takes a job at a place called AEE. It stands for Asia Europe Energy Engineering, I think. It's a robotics company, and it's the biggest robotics company in the world right now. In fact, this whole series has a very large focus on robots. Obviously, the main character is an android. So Origin takes a job at this robotics company, and he's thinking, well, if I work here, I'll be able to replace my parts, and I'll be able to get new fuel, and this will be a good place for me to work. And that's what he's thinking, but then on his first day, he realizes this might not have been such a great idea. Now I'm surrounded by all these robotics experts who are looking at me all day and interacting with me all day. One of them might realize I'm not a robot. And in fact, this actually happens very early on, where people are kind of not really suspecting him of being a robot, but kind of saying he acts robotic. This one girl says, your speech patterns are just like this vocal robotics software that I developed when I was a teenager. And Origin is, in his internal monologue, is saying, that's the exact software that's uploaded into my brain. So there's kind of this running gag throughout the series of Origin thinking that people are onto him, or are they testing him? It's pretty funny. So there's a lot of good humor throughout the series, along with the amazing action. Now, his first day after working at AEE, Origin is heading back to his home when he's attacked by 2 of the other 8 androids out there. Now, remember, there's only 8. There were originally 9 androids. Now there's only 8 androids because one of them died in the first chapter. But 2 of the other ones attack Origin on his way home. Woo! It's a good fight. You have got Origin loses an arm almost at the beginning of the fight, and he's taken on 2 of these other androids by himself, it ends in pretty much a stalemate. All 3 of them decide it's best for them to stop fighting at one point, but that's a long fight. A lot of stuff happens. Very good fight to check out, and it starts in chapter 3, I think, so very early on, and this is sort of where we get some interesting stuff, because Origin is like, why are you guys attacking me? I thought I sent a message, and any logical android would come to the conclusion that they shouldn't come after me. And he suspects that there must be some other android who has developed feelings that is controlling or sort of ordering around these subordinate androids. And so Origin's very intrigued by this, because a robot with feelings, that's what Origin wants. He wants to be more human. So he wants to get to this person, or this other android, and learn how they have developed feelings, so that perhaps Origin himself can develop feelings. And so this is sort of where the manga goes. There's a lot of Origin trying to make money so that he can keep himself maintained. So he runs into problems there, because he has to steal stuff and do stuff on the black market. But the main thing is this group of what's now 7 androids versus Origin. Now, Origin wants to get to them because one of them has developed feelings, and that's something Origin wants. And the rest of them want to get to Origin because their leader has feelings, and he's mad that that Origin took out that first android. He's sort of trying to get revenge. Yeah, so that's where the manga goes, and it's very interesting. So that's all I'm going to really give away. I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty details. Y'all can read it for yourself if you want to know more. So let me just tell you a little bit about my favorite things about the manga. I like that Origin is a main character that doesn't have feelings, and yet I still can feel for him. Whenever he's in a tough situation, or whenever he's running low on fuel and he's in a fight, I can feel for him. I can feel for the guy, even though he can't feel for himself. So I like that. I also really like the robotics throughout the series. You see lots of cool technology that they've developed. There's these cell phones that everyone has that are little tiny robots that they walk around, and like for an alarm, the phone will be tapping on you and telling you to wake up instead of just making a noise, some annoying alarm noise. I like that the screaming metropolis of Tokyo, all of the city shots that we get are really great. The artwork is amazing. The artwork is one of the greatest things about it. I just love seeing the really tall buildings. They look great. And I love the giant mech robots that they've got, that they're developing, like at AEE. The Origin's helping to develop these giant mech robots are really cool and really powerful. Also, our main character fights with a katana, so if you're into swordplay, you get some of that too. It's not all just future style stuff, and he pulls that katana out of his arm. That's cool. Also, the pacing is good. You never really have a really dull moment. Definitely when the fighting is going on, it's not dull because the fights are great, very well drawn out, and those will last for quite a long time sometimes. So those are always good. And then in between the fights, you have this intriguing dialogue and this intrigue between, are people finding out about Origin? Are they just very inquisitive people? And you also get these jokes throughout. So there's never a dull moment, and I really like that about it. Now, if I go into things I don't like, there's only one thing really. It's that Origin's motives at the beginning for looking for the android at the beginning and trying to kill her weren't really explained too well. Not It's not until later on in the series that we sort of understand that he wants to stop the androids from killing humans. That wasn't really explained too well at the beginning of the series, so I was confused for a while as to really why he went after this android in the first place, because it seemed like they weren't really hurting him. So why go after him? But later on, we kind of learned he's sort of like a protector of humanity, even though he has no feelings. So if you can get past that at the beginning and get deeper into the story, you'll come to really like it. So remember to like, comment, subscribe, hit notifications, all that good stuff. And I'll catch y'all in the next video. Have a great one.